So when we dive into the story, I wanted to lean heavily on that through line of childhood and how much what you do as a child influences your decisions or lack of decision making when you're older. And for Gordon, our talent and athlete and client, his childhood
initially started out as like basically family drama at home, you know, like parents fighting. Because I grew up playing World of Warcraft and Yu-Gi-Oh! And reading comic books, and like some kid that was like in my class is like, "Oh, come to the gym," and
it's kind of an escape.
Yeah, and that's what it became. And then the football coach was like, "Hey, you're pretty strong." Like I grew up getting picked on, so like that's the first time I've ever gotten like a positive affirmation. That being said, like then it just the idea pops up like, yeah, maybe I should like compete in something. So got into bodybuilding, started watching YouTube videos, which is kind of why I think that this like short film's cool.
His childhood, no matter how strained it was, led him to the point where he wants to give all of what he has to people and to everyone in front of him.
I do in-home and online personal training.
I had met Gordon a year ago just to talk about development for myself. I want to dive back into directing headfirst, new subject matter. Right away, what can I do? And he was the first person that popped into my mind, and he was super available and super willing to kind of go along with the narrative part of it. And then he was like, "Hey, why don't you come like work out? Like I'll pick you up from your house and take you to the gym and like work out with you, and we can chat and then grab breakfast." And like you could see how a bodybuilder lives in the morning. So I did that with him, and I'm still sore from that workout, by the way. And one of the interesting things that occurred while we were working out was it was a very emotional moment where it's like, this is kind of like a therapy session. Like we're no longer slinging weight around. We're like talking about feelings, and like he's a big guy, and like this is a big guy just talking about emotions and feelings. So I wanted to tie in that heavy emotion beat, and working out's emotional when you're at that level. Like every rep is something that you're like striving to achieve and to go further than that rep, further and further. And so when I think about the story and the narrative and the through line and the edit, we're gonna crescendo up into that like final moment where we get those poses, and lean very heavily on the poses that he saw on the TV. So yeah, it was kind of probing, trying to find out where I can pull bits of his real life and then piece them together into a story. I think our main challenge is going to be time. We don't have enough time to get all of what's scheduled, so it's a pretty verbose shoot, and it's also in a subject matter that I'm also new in. The sports, athletic, weightlifting scene is not my typical directing, producing project. So I've been learning as we're going along. So, and also to the point of the athlete part of it, we don't want him to burn out. We don't want him to get injured, but we also want like authentic sessions. So I'm working with an entirely different crew than I normally work with for the actual shoot, meaning my DP is someone I've only art directed in the past, so that will be a very interesting ordeal to find each other's language, so that not only we can move quickly, but so we can vibe off of each other. That's something that I look forward to in shoots, is that the vibe that I get with my directors of photography.
When I film an athlete, like I was telling Manny, this is like, your reps are the most important thing to me. I don't want you to get hurt. I want to make sure that I'm counting the reps and I'm not asking you to do 12 of something, like 3. Like if I don't get it in 3, I'm not doing my job. Type of thing. So like we might do like a dress rehearsal with an empty bar just to get like I can track your movement, and then I can track my movement, and then there's like something else going on over here. Like that way we can all like learn the dance, and then we'll do like one 1 rep at like almost weight, and then like if we're like, man, that felt great, let's go for it, then we'll do 1 at whatever the weight would be, if there's a weight.
Okay. Yeah.
So in the span of our time together, we'll work out before we do the poses. 100%. I want to make sure you get the right bulk up. So the poses will be the last thing we do. What would be like the warm-up action, and then which machines we want to put focus on?
So if I was doing back and shoulders, my warm-up is ride the bike for a minute, get some blood flowing. Yeah, once that hits, I'll roll things out that are typically tight on my body. Yeah, and then like whatever like the big compound movement is, I'll start with like a light set on it, and then I'll progressively get heavier until you hit what's called like a top set. That's your heavy set. I would do rows here or with dumbbells. Dumbbells honestly probably look cooler on camera. Dumbbells on the ground. And then I kind of get like a lat pull down action. Yeah, and sit up with that.
Yeah, this area, great.
And then I would probably get on like a squat rack, and I'd do like rack pulls.
That'd be a shot. Do the cross through, hanging, show the stuff out.
And I mean, if we wanted to do something
Get
like authentic, like you can even put the chains on.
Strap a GoPro to it.
You put the chains on the weight, and that's called accommodative resistance. So like at the bottom, you're weaker because you're in like an advantageous position for your body. But I could probably stand here, locked out, with 800 pounds on the bar. So basically, like when the chains are hanging, it's full weight. But then as you go down, the bar gets lighter and you're weaker.
Oh.
So that's called accommodating resistance. From my perspective, like it would look cool. I don't know what your idea is, but I want this also to like bring in gem pop. Like not be too intimidating, because like I want it to seem attainable to everyone.
Making sure we keep texture in place, and then like again, this will be dark. We'll probably do like one light kind of this way, edge light there. I'd have to see which bank turns off which bank. Who killed the overheads?
Yeah.
Yeah, even just this. Without fucking with the windows, it's perfect.
Yeah, because you can control the light if you have a big one.
If I added a thing of ND, we're more than enough. Hey, good news, we only got black windows.
You see the videos you put up there?
Yeah.
The boxing one?
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that isn't specifically weightlifting. Like there's the feet, the guys, like they're fighting, but it's just the feet. Or the bag is hanging.
Or if it is wet and we're here, like I'll sit down there and take my shoes off, switch out my shoes. Like for a lot of people that train, like that mental process of like the routine, what you do before. You're gonna like this one. Something like this. I would put like one of those chains around me. I would not use this rack. Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe it would be cool to have the Olympia poses and on Sean's sweep.
We do that too. Where were you thinking to do the poses here? Like physically where?
If we could just capture two, I think, just to be helpful to my buddy.
Yeah.
Like, a few shots with like this logo on it.
Yeah. So you're thinking this is the background, weight set, what's the vision?
Facing this way because they're quick snapshots.
I love that Apple added this shit.
Oh yeah.
You can see the millimeter now in full frame. So like now I can tell what focal length I'm at. It's like close.
Yeah.
And so I know I like to be at 28 a lot of times.
Maybe we should line this way.
Yeah, like I want
Depth.
as much length as we
You
can.
want to face us this way.
But so if we're like this, if I'm at 28.
So like the other thing that a lot of people don't know about posing is like this is like for me also like the artist. Yeah. Right. And like the whole premise is like your body is an axis of line. Like it's an optical. Posing is actually like an optical illusion. Not a lot of people know that. But for example, like you want to make your waist look as small as possible while opening. So like a lot of bodybuilders with strength, you think about like intense, tight, but like presenting it is about like spreading out, being open, you know. So just like little tricks where if I turn just like a little, like having my hips on like a slight angle, make them look smaller than, right? Or like when people do lat spreads a lot of time, they press on their hips and that hides 2 inches on their hips.
So the studio we're going to on the second day is they have a large white sweep.
Yeah.
So we can like get really crazy with some of those lights. And if we're like dollying in him really quick on a pose, we can brush past them and then match cut to the same pose.
Yeah.
I got my workout in this morning, so feeling good.
A little exhausted, but that like good kind of exhausted.
Yeah. I took an ice cold shower to like try to wake myself up.
It's gonna be changed up. I'm gonna take this rail down. We're gonna put this wall, this one. It's gonna be the main wall. We're gonna just keep it there, and then we're gonna bring in one more wall from the other side. Box it in here, do the rope, pop it out straight through, so that this left side is open.
So we're building his childhood bedroom. We're gonna fill it with some of his props from when he was a child, and then we cast a younger actor to play his younger self. And we're gonna refer to this moment in his history as a very catalytic moment for what we're gonna be shooting on set on Wednesday. So we're here at the end of the day, Wednesday, and then the first set of Wednesday is at the gym. It's local to this area, but a lot of bodybuilders train there. And it's gonna be cool. I'm excited for you guys to see the process of our build here.
We built this set. We're here at Studio Space MKE. The important part, obviously, is the lifting and the workout and the sessions and all that stuff. But the most important part is to be able to visualize and to show the audience a younger Gordon. Building a set is, no matter how small or how big, it's never easy. So in order to get these things here, get the panels up, get the carpet rolled out, and then decorate it, we're taking that a little step further too. I'm gonna put stuff of our talent, the boy that's coming into play, young Gordon, we're gonna put some of his personal items in the room as well, just to give it a duality. I pulled bits from his childhood. He loves Pokemon. He's a gamer. He's also vastly influenced by wrestling and those other types of high octane sports. So that's the tie-in, is the through line to the entire thing is the bodybuilding. You can see it behind us. It's it's the Arnold and what Arnold achieved and stood for at that period of time, and what he still stands for and achieves in the wave of new athletes in that arena. So tying his workouts as an athlete in the gym to his childhood, living up to or wanting to live up to that example, to even the Olympic poses that he'll be portraying in the gym. That's like our overall tie-in. I try to pull in some elements from what he was telling me about his bedroom. So like we've got a Nintendo 64 behind me. He was an avid player. Like I said, the posters. He's a sneakerhead now, so we've got the Nike and the Supreme stuff behind us as well. So I, just try to pull some of that stuff in. We'll open the spot here in the bedroom. Young Gordon will be sitting just in front of his bed, eating his favorite cereal. We'll slowly push in, and we're cutting in between this sequence and all of the workout sequences in kind of this linear fashion, up until the Olympia poses, which are match cuts. They're they're jump and match cuts at the same time. So we're tying in the Olympic poses to the Olympic poses on the screen, to the boy sitting here eating the cereal, dreaming, to the posters, back to the gym. And it's just kind of all this rapid succession, and then we'll crescendo it out onto this, you guys can't see right now, but the white backdrop or the white sweep that's back there. So he's gonna finish each of those moves with match cuts here.
He's here, doing something special. He's like, put that Vibey song back on.
That Vibey song?
Vibey song.
Oh, Vibey song. Gordon, if you could come here.
So this is as if you just came in.
Yeah. Fight up for fire. Okay. You want the brown coming out of that shit.
It's going fantastic.
Day 101.
I'm glad that we were able to combine it though, because I really didn't want to split it into two to begin with.
I like this setup. So if he just sits and does, like, I'm just gonna leave it static like this. So if he sits, this might work. So I'm just gonna pit roll, go. I just like that. That wide just looks really good. So by doing it like as a quasi lockdown, we're not on actual sticks. That when you do the movement, like when you pop that pin in, that little bounce at the end shows the difference between like if it's just like a stop motion of and like you can have that breath of like that little half second on the end there where the hand's gone, that little bounce, like bounce is gonna give that like natural saucy goodness. I don't know, there's probably a real word for it, but I don't know, it's real.
Hey Brandon, would you be willing to tell us your part in this and what you're doing to help out?
Absolutely. Emmanuel and the production crew brought me on as script supervisor. So I'm here just making sure that Gordon is doing what he needs to do, working really hard, not getting tired.
Appreciate you, brother.
And, there's a lot of different positions that I pull from, like personal assistant, assistant director. I'm not first AC on this one.
Super swing.
Super swing?
Super swing.
Is that what you would call it?
Super swing. Well, swing. Swing, yeah. But he's super.
Sway how? Sway how?
Super swing.
How, Sway?
Super sweet. Next time, Brandon, that's what it's going to be.
Super swing.
I like that.
Build up over that.
You hour ahead of schedule.
What?
Excellent. I expected the exact opposite of that.
You can peek at that one.
That one will look good.
Sure? That actually keeps playing.
Took a lot of effort to get up here. So I got closer to daylight washing on his face, and then we're like tungsten-ish on we're like a mix between tungsten and fluorescent on my bars, and then his bars are cooler than tungsten.
Yeah.
They're probably around 4,200.
I soon realized that this journey, this big
Andrew was being fucking brilliant
That was kibitzing.
and moving us into a better.
Look at that blush on over there. He's like, yeah.
No, we got kibitzing. We got ADHD kicks in, and I'm like, ooh, color. There's too many colors. I don't like that. Where were you thinking to do the poses here?
We should line up this way though.
Yeah, like I want as much length as we
You
can.
want to face us.
So if we're like this, if I'm at 28. And I'm like, hey, this looks really cool. And we were talking about like just getting the frame of it, and at least here we understand what mixed color temperatures we're working with between the windows and like the two different fluorescent tubes and what we can match to versus bringing in a whole different color. But then like as we're pushing in, like we get a nice big squared off thing with this. This is a Smith, right? Cable machine. So this big cable machine gives us a nice profile so that when he's up and like looking Mr. Olympia, it gives us a platform to play off of a little bit. So that's all.
than me. Given how far I've come, I have an obligation to help others rewrite their narratives. So don't stop rewriting your story. Stay strong. We have unfinished business.
This is so cinematic, Andrew. So cinematic. This is so important to the storyline.
Is this or crack? Or heroin, actually. And I figured this was a better use of my money.
I expected there to be more people to have to shoot out and stuff like that, but it wasn't, which makes me very happy. Yeah, I think we'll see how the edit goes, because the style interesting shots were the poses. So, but even that was pretty cool. The location switch was great.
Yeah.
Because it still would have been awkward with like that green runway.
Green, color
Yeah.
green and all of it. So just like the stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
This is the set.
The bedroom set is rad, you know, like, it's very cool. I like how you guys have like nostalgic stuff that I was actually into, like the Mewtwo. I saw it in your guys' little story, so I like pulled out my Mewtwo hoodie. Definitely had an N64. Spent a lot of hours jammed in on that. Helped distract me from other things. And yeah, it's dope.
You said your room was messier.
probably more choice scattered across the floor, but overall, big fan of it.
Edge lit type of vibe. So Andrew set up some tube lights on the TV so that we can mark around the edges. What's up?
I don't like milk in my cereal.
You don't like milk in your cereal? Well, I think that's fine. I think we can go with that.
No, I don't want it.
No, but like we don't need milk, right? You like milk. You like cereal without milk, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds good. Good deal. So in post, I'm gonna try and paint it out.
Can you tell me how many lights there are? 2 of them? Are they big or little? Oh, okay.
I mean, yeah,
What color
just
are they?
keep that depth
So I'll be like this.
with the TV.
Oh,
can
white
do
and
that,
black.
right?
Okay. What's on top
Tell
of
me,
the
yeah.
TV?
Depth? What do you mean depth?
Well, I mean the TV right there in the background, him right there.
Yeah,
you can do
that
that.
looks good.
Right,
What color
yeah.
are they?
That's easy. Once
Just
his like
don't
head
like-
starts getting in there, then
Yeah.
it's more difficult. Yeah. So if I stay at 28, put whatever you want in there.
Right, I say do that and then get a close up of the TV.
I was just say it's too hot up there.
Too bright.
That light.
No, it's white that's getting up.
It's like overexposed.
Yeah.
What's up?
Let's give him a rim on the top.
No, it just looks like it's another light source. In
Oh,
it. That's
that.
it. Yeah,
What you
it's
talking
maybe
about?
like a 1%.
What are we talking about?
That's a post.
He's saying, put the camera back on him. He's saying that light, that light.
Like it's an extra source coming in. That warmth that we get in that booth on him.
Too blue?
Easy peasy.
What color you want?
Yeah, all the
We
marks.
got all these colors.
Yeah, turn your
That's
back to
nice.
them.
First that backlight right there. He said it was too white, so I looked
At the very beginning, you have the inspiration, the kid, seeing what is possible, what he could be. And then you have sort of this internal dialogue with, you know, I started out, this is what I did. And you have him like prepping and then warming up. And right here, kind of get an introduction to the workout with a lot of flashbacks. A lot of the audio for the flashbacks are at the beginning. They're kind of front loaded, and you're getting kind of that, oh, this is something to push for, this is the motivation. And then you get a bunch of like, this section here is just a lot of really quick cut montages of like, it's a workout montage, and these are all really fast paced and dynamic. And then you get the really strong like building, and it's just cool to lift heavy. And so this section here is the lifting part, and this is your last flashback here. Nothing too crazy, just kind of like another little reminder that this is for that end goal. And I love how you can just see the camera shake, and you can just feel the weight of this and see it on his face. And then it pays off, and you're like, oh, he's trained, he's made it. And then you get him kind of being like, this is who I've become, this is what I've done. Now it's time to show off, essentially. Be like, look at, this is what I'm able to accomplish. I started out from nothing and a motivation, and this is where I am. And through the voiceover, he's saying this is something that you can do as well. His goal is to help other people who have this same sort of dream to see that it's attainable, because he knows the value of community and the value that working out has done for his life and what it's meant to him. And so he's kind of like, look, I'm a professional. Look at what I've done. Look at how far I've come. And it's something that you can strive for as well. And all these quick, fast, dynamic, fun shots, and ends it. And he's like, okay, pointing up, like, it's not about me. And then, and this is something that is supposed to motivate and inspire you to keep on pursuing your goals and dreams. And he kind of just walks off, and he's like, I've made it, I've accomplished. I'm at a place of rest or peace about how far I've come and what I've done. And I go to the end title. You can see all the different parts that went into this. So each of these orange sections is a color grade. You have blue down here. This is all the music. This is Gordon's voiceover, and this is sampling from the Mr. Olympia footage that we have. So that corresponds here with that. I think we'll just start at the beginning and we'll work our way towards the end and point out anything interesting. All right, so we have all these little glitch sounds. That's all you hear at first. And then the music comes in. Music comes in here. And right here we have, this is the voiceover for the Mr. Olympia pose footage, and had to corner pin this in there. And that's what a lot of this stuff is. But when it switches to here, this audio changes. So I cut this. The effects I have on there are different. So it sounds like it's in a different room. So this is what it looks like. It's supposed to sound like an old-time radio. So when you get from this first shot, you're in the room and it sounds relatively normal. I mean, I had to mess with it a little bit because it was pretty old and sounded kind of gnarly. But once you get to here, this first transition where we're like sucked into modern day, change that to sound like an old-time radio. It's almost like it's him hearing it differently, like he was a young child.
He's 5'4", but man, he's packed 185 pounds.
Do you ever feel like the...
And then the voiceover kicks in. So that was a cool little trick to kind of make it feel somewhat more like a flashback. So up here we have, each of these is another one of the images I had to corner pin and scale differently. So right here, this is the opacity. And for the top one, oh, it's not all the way at the top. Never mind. So as it goes down, it's behind, and it's trying to help make these edges smoother. If I mute them, it's a very rough edge. So smoothing that out, that was fun. I hadn't corner pinned something before, and I think it turned out okay, especially with the glow around it, and it's really small in the frame, so it's kind of harder to see, and you also have some glitchness added up here, and the top section here, all of these pink sections are meant to flicker. So right here it's on, and this was a PNG. I basically painted some white with Photoshop and then imported it here. So when it's gone, you can't see the glow around it, and it makes it look a little bit like a glitch. So if you watch right here,
5'4", but
it glitched a little bit, like it for half a second. Well, not really half a second. Technically, it's 1/24 of a second. Also, I added black bars on the edge to make it look more like the older cameras, how they have their aspect ratio like this, and I also made it fuzzy, so it's hopefully taking you back to that earlier era when film used to look like that. This already naturally kind of had that, so if I remove the crop, it's already pretty much like that. Probably just zoomed in a little bit and framed differently. So right here we have, for one frame, the screen goes black, or it goes bright and then black. Yeah, it goes bright and then black, and then we go back, we like get sucked into it, like you're no longer thinking about the boy, you're thinking about Mr. Olympia. And this is like the boy's perspective. So cut to our talent, Gordon, walking in towards the gym. And he starts his voiceover. The voiceover, I think, is really important because without it, it just looks like a guy who's maybe a little bit inspired by old time bodybuilding, but not, you don't quite understand the motivation, the reason behind it. It's kind of like just a cool workout montage, and having the voiceover ties in the motivation behind why this is important and what the video is even all about. So we have, as the voiceover comes in, we make this quieter and quieter, and eventually fades to nothing. It's almost just like background noise. It's almost like a sound effect. So next thing I want to show you is really cool. Right here, in camera, we captured this audio. I will just play that. Kind of noisy, kind of rough, but you hear the zipper, and it's going to be a J hook because a J cut, because you can hear it before you see it, because this is over it. So you see this, but you're hearing the zipper, and then you see that last few frames of the zipper moving, and I think that really ties it in. If we remove that, we just take that out and watch it, this is what it looks like.
Do you ever feel like the weight of the...
And it's just meh, normal. But with it,
do you ever feel like the weight of the world
kind of takes you to the next spot, because you hear it and you see it. All right, so here we had a lot of slow-mo. This falling powder is really good. Kicking off the shoes, adding some bass noises to make it sound like there's impacts happening. This is sort of like him getting ready. We had a lot of footage to go through, so I had to pick what was the most important to play. We had a lot of like getting ready footage, and we had even some workout machines I ended up not even using, just for sake of if you have one shot of one machine, it might not make as much sense. Like you have 7 different one shots of one machine versus if you have a repeat where it's like this is one machine, this is another, and then this is a third, and then you go back and forth between them, then your brain is kind of like, oh yeah, I remember this kind of all plays together. Kind of like Nolan does with Dunkirk, where he's got the planes and the boat and the beach, and he's kind of cutting between them. That's kind of what I was going for later. I'll get into that later. But for now, there was more we shot for him getting ready, but we wanted to get into the action and not slow it down too much. It was going to be a 5-minute video if we had all the footage, not all the footage, but like if it was paced out at a like slower, more movie style. This is more of like a trailer or a quick biopic. So here again, a little bit of a J hook, not J hook, J cut, where you hear the audio first. I'm pretty sure this is the right one. Yeah, so you hear him pedaling the machine before you see it. And then again,
I took my first step inside
the next machine as well.
The gym. I was just
that's right here. You can hear this one. I want to keep things going pretty briefly. Like we have 1, 2, 3 shots of him on the bike, and then we have this one of him on the rowing machine. It's a little bit longer of a take, and you can kind of see everything in it. Let's see, actually, how long is this? It's about the same length, but it's a standalone. Just Control Z. I put that back where it was, and we're cutting interspersed with these somewhat flashback type of things, where the subliminal thing that I'm hoping comes across that Emmanuel, the director, and I were trying to make happen was for you to feel like these cuts back to the Olympia footage from when he was a child would help you feel like this is him remembering, this is his motivation, this is what got him here, this is what got him started, and like almost the internal dialogue of what's going on in his head while he's prepping. That's kind of what we're hoping for, and each time I have a little bit of a sound effect and a visual to kind of cue you that this is a flashback. So we start out with the older time black bars on the side. When we do this glitch transition here, we go to black bars on top and bottom. And after that, each of these next sections have the black bars on top and bottom, because I thought it would be more, if you don't have a transition and you just like black bars on side, black bars on top, it looks weird to just go back and forth between them. And you kind of already have established that this is the old time, old school footage. Hopefully it's not noticeable, but I like to notice all the little things and how they add up to make a certain feeling. So down here, I think these are probably the sound effects for the glitching.
For an escape.
Last year's runner-up, Lee Labrada.
And next, this is something we talk about in the behind the scenes footage that you've already seen. We have this section right here where the cord is still shaking a little bit. So it's like a still, but not. And I had to cue that up. I wanted to bring context to the viewer so they're not just lost. Like, it's a cool thing, it looks cool, but like, what is it? So this, his hand at first, placing it, boom, and then pulling down. Like, I want to give you enough context to kind of hang the hats on later. Right here we have this audio from the Olympia.
How about it, a standing ovation for Eddie?
How about it, a standing ovation for Eddie? And in it, you can kind of hear some screaming, like some cheering, but I wanted to add some extra and then continue it on with cheering here. Yeah, old-time radio effect, and here. So that way it would kind of build, and then in his head, Gordon's head, later you hear this, which is the cheering, but like from another room. Like boxing, for example, you have your main character who's in the locker getting ready, and he's getting ready to come out. This would kind of be that feeling of like, I can hear the crowds, they're really loud and ruckus, but they're in another room. That was the goal here.
The gym is a training ground.
So you can kind of hear it here if I just make that the only track you hear. See that difference? Once we cut back to him, present day, it's kind of like you can hear it from far away again. So yeah, there's that, and then with, yep, so that's that sound effect. Nice, sounds great, I love it.
The gym is a training ground, fighting unseen battles.
Very smooth.
At this point, things get a little bit more exciting. We have kind of your intro music, we have this sort of pensive music, but really most of the audio you're hearing here is not so much the music at this point. At this point, there's less music, it's more the crowd.
Unseen.
It's more his personal internal dialogue or voiceover, and then this crowd, or I mean the Mr. Olympia pose stuff, and then it ramps up. So we have like music here, this music is kind of there but not really, and then all of this starting here at this point, all this footage is him on one machine it progresses in the sense that he's adding weight, but it's not that he's changing machines. It's just one machine. So he's all on one machine for all this section here. Then we go to what I was talking to you earlier about with Nolan. We have faster paced music, we have less dialogue, and this is more him working out. So at this point, we go to different workouts and we cut between them. So here we have dumbbell. Next is sit-ups, but you don't necessarily know that yet. Dumbbells lifting again, or I guess that's probably rows, is what that's called. Here we have dips. Wait, where is this? Is this just black? No, okay, that's Mr. Olympia. Sit-ups, so this one matches with down here. Don't know why it's there. Dips again. Dumbbell, putting the dumbbell back, and you have sound effects to help aid that, like right here. This, I'm pretty sure, this sound effect. That is for this clip, but it's the majority of it happening is after it's already done. So that would be an L cut, where you hear the audio after it is. And this is again for the sit-ups. Similar sort of machine structure where you have the weights going in, and we have audio for that. Cutting back and forth, so he's taking off his gloves after rows. That's what they are. So yeah, all of this is meant to be somewhat linear, but also not. So you have like boom, 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 all 3 of these go together, and all 4 of these go together, and 2 of these go together. So, but they're cut in between. It's meant to be fast paced, but you can still kind of track with your brain. And then we move into the, oh, no, I was wrong. All right, so at this point, we're still cutting back and forth between the different things of like sit-ups down here and rows right here. But we're also adding getting ready. So we have, these could actually probably be down here, except for that they're filmed with the GoPro, so I didn't want to color grade them. We'll get to color grading later. All 3 of these are with the GoPro, so they have a different video format. They're not shot in log, and so their color grading needs were different. So right here's one. Yeah, so all of this stuff down here was log, so I had to color grade that to look relatively normal. And then that's mostly what this is. I'll get into color grading more in depth later. But yeah, so these shots are him getting ready for doing it's called a deadlift, I believe. Not sure if his version is different. Yeah, so we have him putting the, excuse me. We have him putting the plates on the rack. It's really good sound effects. I love this sound effect. Singular. I'm pretty sure that's actually audio that I collected on set. Anyways, you have chains and just really good, juicy sounds. So good. And so we went from the back and forth section over here to now we're doing another sort of linear section of just doing the deadlift. I want to spend a little bit more time on it and slow down. Like you see all these cuts very fast, whereas this is almost twice as long, if not more. And that's to kind of help it sink in that it's heavy, and I want you to feel that it's difficult. As well as this is kind of the point where the music crescendos, it builds up. You can see on here a lot of these sound effects. If I zoom out to the whole project, here's a look at the entire project, and this section right here is where there's the most sound effects. Over here you have like some gaps, some space, over here's some space, here's some space. But right here, all of this is stacked up all together. So specifically this audio, but all of this is helping to build up towards this point right here where it all cuts off and we're left with just this sort of whispering noise of the wind and the glitching ending, and you're kind of like, oh, okay, wow, something big. And then we get a big bass drop. Where is that? Is that this? Is that what this is? That's probably what this is. And the goal of that audio building is one, for there to be a transition, and two, for it to feel impactful. You can make things feel impactful when you have lots of noise that's different than normal, or when you take noise away and you're like, this is different. It's awkward. It feels awkward as an audience member. Something happened. It doesn't feel awkward, but it feels like, oh, okay, it was really noisy and now we're left with very little noise, and it's a little jarring, and it's meant to convey a thing. What is it meant to convey? It is meant to convey that he's kind of made it, that this is him, all this prepping, all this training. Okay, this is like the cool down, icy, I've accomplished, this is where I've come to get to the point where I wanted to be. And then shortly after this, we have 1, 2 more clips, and we go to the posing. And so this is kind of like that payoff. So yeah, we'll listen to this starting back here. If we just listen to this audio, I'm pretty sure it's this one, it'll kind of give you a little bit of an idea, and then we'll listen to the whole thing. So that's actually from a subway, and it's getting closer and bigger and louder. And we also have other things. This might also be a train, and various other things along with just all of the glitch. So I think that's what all of this here is, the glitch sound effects for here and here and here. And then this is probably just the workout sort of noises. So yeah, we'll listen to that, build up to the pause up before the posing section.
Among the top 10, it's the vibrato.
I soon realized that this journey was bigger than me.
So there you go. You see the difference. I don't know. Is it this one? This one is that kind of like wind noise. Yeah. Because if you have absolute silence, it feels a little uncanny or maybe bland. But if you have wind noise, that accentuates the isolation, the silence. A lot of times you'll get that if you're watching a movie and there's someone who's very much alone and it's very quiet. Usually they'll add the sound of wind just to make it feel like it's empty and quiet. So yeah, like that, and then we get into the next section of music, and it is hopping. It's a little bit of a different vibe. So right here we have some this like fast-paced, classical, hyper energetic sort of noise, and then over here we have this more, I want to say, epic, chaotic, robotic hype, maybe. There's very different styles of feeling along with the music. This is kind of like the, we have accomplished things. We are at the point, let's show off. This music over here, in the middle, is more of a, let's build, let's try, let's hard work to get where we're trying to go. And this is more like the, look at us now sort of music. So hopefully that helps portray that. And we also go to voiceover. We have a lot less sound effects. Most of these sound effects in here are just little whooshes to try to correspond with the motion of the camera or his posing differences. I'm going to show you this next section here. So all of these down here correspond to all these little breaks here. I want everything to be timed to the music, and so what I did is I took just a video and I cut it up essentially to match this, so I would have something to go off of for all of these. And each break here, 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 they're supposed to correspond. Right here there isn't a break, but that's because there's a transition. Not transition, but right here there's a speed ramp. So you have this, and then it's as if there was a break because it cuts to a different angle, I guess you could say, just from the speed of it. And we also have speed ramps for a lot of these to kind of speed up into them. So Like this is mostly what you see is this slow turn here because it's slow motion, but you also get like this 3 frames of speed of him getting into that position. So here we go. We have cutting back and forth between here in the gym, which we talked about in the behind the scenes. Andrew showed you. We went for this because there was no green carpet. We cut between that and the white sweep at Studio Space MKE. And a lot of this kind of just follows his routine. Earlier in the behind the scenes for this, you saw him do the Olympia poses, and that's how he would do them. Like apparently there's required poses that everyone must do, and then there's the freeform, you can do whatever you want, freestyle sort of thing. So our DP filmed static far away, him doing all the posing, and did that for each location, and then he did another sort of run through several times, but another style of run through where he's moving around with the camera. And so most of this, I chose to use the handheld moving the camera with the gimbal because that's more dynamic and different than just standing back and watching him pose. But we cut to some of the watching him pose from a further away distance. But by and large, there's a lot happening, and that's kind of what I want it to be like. It'd be kind of boring just to watch him pose standing still in the center of the frame, as far as like dynamics of catching your eye and drawing you in visually. So we'll watch this. There's not that much as far as sound effects. A lot of the power of this is in the voiceover and the music and the way that it's cut and all of the speed ramps.
I soon realized that this journey was bigger than me. Given how far I've come, I have an obligation to help others rewrite their narratives. So don't stop rewriting your story. Stay strong. We have unfinished business.
And then we get to the credits. Real quick, here we have these super long takes, comparatively speaking. Like these are, how many frames are these? I don't know. 12. They're 12 frames, so that's half of a second, each of these clips here. And then once we get to here, then it's 3 seconds, and it's just holding, which the music kind of helps out with that sort of echoey.
We have unfinished business.
And then I have a crossfade just to show like sort of the passage of time and that it's changing. The music is also changing, and this last sentence by him in the voiceover is kind of that knife in the back. It is the final word that is the most important. This sort of slow walk off is so cool to me. It's kind of that I have accomplished, I have conquered, and now I'm walking away stronger every day. That is there. That's kind of his motto. And then we get into these other ones that most all of these are slow motion and they have to be a little bit longer. And by and large, I try to keep them relatively abstract. Like this one isn't that abstract, but a lot of these are. So like this, you have like focus, and then it switches focus to over there. So it's just like a beautiful shot that's kind of slow motion. I have different sound effects to go with it. All of these are for the glitchy motion graphics, and all of these down here are for the stuff you're seeing on screen. This one's probably a good clip to have as representative for the color grading. So removing the crop, you can see here, the black bars hid that I centered this a little bit differently. So let's see here, go to color. This specific clip, remove the UX. So yeah, this is what it came to me looking like. Very flat log, looks clean. It could become even more pristine looking than you see with the video, because we were going for more of a grungy, we're going for more of a grungy, raw sort of feeling. So here's the color grading to get it somewhat back to normal. So let's make this bigger. That is cool. That's what it normally looks like. Like that's what it would have looked like out of camera if I'd just taken it from log to essentially Rec 709. Then we have the crop. It's just there to look cool. And this one is the project-wide look. So I took it across everything and added a few things. One, the shadows are blue. You can kind of see the difference here. This is very much more of a black and white sort of look. And it's very natural, it's very clean. It looks good as is, but I wanted it to be a little bit more grungy. So blue in the background, in the shadows, and then the mid tones, the lighter tones, I wanted them to be more yellow. Grain is added to accentuate even more of the grunge. Some of the motivation for this sort of style was one of the pieces that the director shared with me initially when we were first planning this shoot. One in particular that had some more of like a boxing ring feel and genre, and we wanted to go with that. So that was why we did the color that way. That's roughly what it would look like. Color grade without the color grade. Oh, yeah, I also added a vignette around the edge. Yeah, all right. I hope you've enjoyed this portion of the behind the scenes footage. It was a really fun project for me, and I hope you enjoyed watching all that went into the editing to make it feel a certain way, intentionally. Thanks.